Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on the Daily Debate. Once again, I'd like to welcome very much Dr. Hussien Ghazzawy, oil and gas expert. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Dr. Egypt's Baltim southwest offshore gas field was discovered also by the Italian gas company Eni, and I believe that was back in 2016, but it actually started a production at an estimated capital output of 100 million cubic feet of gas per day. Now, today, when we want to talk about or describe to the viewers about this exploration of the Baltim gas field, what can you tell us?
I think the Mediterranean is still giving good news to Egypt. Baltim Southwest was discovered, and actually the proximity of the field to the shore, to the existing facility, makes it easier to tie into the existing facility. By mid of next year, should be producing 500 million cubic feet per day, which is significant. Egypt reached 7 billion cubic feet per day last month, which is a good number.
Yes.
We were down to 3.6 billion cubic feet in July 2016. In a very short time, we came back from being importing to self-sufficient in September of 2018, and now we start exporting again. Eni and PP in this field, they are partners. They are very active in the Mediterranean. We have seen the result of the bid round for the Mediterranean and the Western Desert in February of this year. And the good news is ExxonMobil entering Egypt market.
All right. So we've got like 3 major giant companies.
And Shell starting again in the Mediterranean after being relatively quiet in the Mediterranean for quite some time. And something is very interesting. In a neighboring country where they did their bid round, actually we managed to attract the big major compared to that, which give indication of the trust, because as we always say, the investors, they don't have heart.
Of course.
They have to trust the system. They have to trust that they will make good money. So they trust the investing environment in Egypt. They have seen there's been a new law now to encourage the exploration and production companies.
And seriousness in implementing these jobs at a short time, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Plus the discovery itself. Very rich Mediterranean Sea.
Mediterranean is rich with gas, not only in Egypt, but also in the other country. Lebanon will start exploration end of the year, and we wish them all the best as well. So it's looking promising for this part of the world when it comes to the gas, and we will...
Yes, well, if we're going to talk about the internal benefit of this exploration for the past 5 years, which basically aimed at reducing the costs and the quantity of the imported petroleum components, which is not just gas, but also diesel and others. How is that being directly, how is the Egyptian market being directly affected by this reduction?
Okay, so we were exporting and we start importing again. It was costing us $2.5 billion per year. So when you stop importing gas in September of last year, that's $2.5 billion added to the budget of Egypt. The export, it's going with the exports, we anticipate in the fiscal year to make another $2 billion. So 2 billion, 2.5, we talk about $4.5 to $5 billion. That was the direct impact of Egypt stopping importing LNG, liquefied natural gas, and starting to be self-sufficient and exporting again. So that's significant. As far as the gasoline and the diesel, we have 7 refineries. There is a new refinery starting already the operational test, and this will help Egypt to produce more refined product. We're still importing refined product, diesel and gasoline. The government having an aggressive target to reach self-sufficient of all this refining product by 2022. Egypt has the biggest refinery capacity in Africa. Now, with all this gas discovery, we are among the top three countries, Egypt, Nigeria, and Algeria, when it comes to the gas production.
Yes.
Reserve in place with the gas. We are number 2 in Africa after Algeria. So there is a good, and it should impact the normal people. This money now is directed. We see the medical insurance started in Port Said and started another government. So at least the government has more money now to invest.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this. Allow me to interrupt you there, Doctor, because while we talk about all the explorations and the discoveries and so forth, a normal, excuse me, ordinary citizen would be concerned, well, how am I going to be benefiting from that? How is that going to be reflected on my life and my income and my family? So from here, what I believe your answer suggests that it's an indirect impact at the beginning, at least, until we reach our self-sufficient target in 2022, which is the money that is coming. Yes, these two particular elements or materials. But in general, with all these explorations happening and discoveries, the money that's coming out of that is actually regenerated and directed into the economy to fill in other areas and fields and ministries that will support the citizen.
But also there is direct impact, the natural gas to the household, 1 million units, they being connected last year. Egypt already above 10 million units already all over Egypt. By 2030 will be 17 households will have natural gas. You don't have to rely on the gas cylinder. We all remember the long queue and the absence of gas cylinder during the winter. Now we don't have to worry about that.
Or even their accessibility. I mean, even in the new areas before people started, because that's the thing. It's not just the companies coming in and establishing or the government working hard. It's the individuals that have to also play their part in going to work or be in the interest of performing their duty and work with the networking of the gas in their houses. So I believe in some areas in New Cairo, when before these networks were done, we would go through that. Now, when we hear them, you know, banging on the cylinders, you say, oh, once upon a time we used to use them.
Very true.
Those were the days, you know. So this is the thing. People have to accommodate to the fact that they have to turn into natural gas usage.
Direct impact as well. All the public transport now are turning. The government have an aggressive plan to switch to gas. You can change your own car to gas. More gas fueling station.
That would definitely be lovely. Less cheaper.
Environmental impacts. Cairo is a big city, and definitely we have the traffic and everything. So there is definitely.
And transportation, if they go natural gas, I believe that would also reduce the tickets prices.
They are going. All these new buses are natural with natural gas.
The thing is that why we're talking about these parallel strategies that are being implemented is because we have a 2030 agenda that we need to meet, and we have a sustainable development program that we need to work on.
Absolutely.
So this is part of it, is turning the country into an energy efficient country on all levels.
Absolutely. It's basically the energy security is very important. The diversity, it's all in 2030 plan. The diversity of the energy resources. We'll have nuclear. We have Bimban solar now is already started. We'll add 1.5 gigawatt to the national grid. The wind farms, people are traveling to Red Sea. They will see the wind farm in Zafarana and Jebel Zayt. And as you said, the efficiency of using the energy as well, the environmental aspect of utilizing this energy as well. So it's all in this sustainable
sustainable program. We will talk more about the sustainable development program, but when you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that it was the highest record for the gas exportation in September.
We reached self-sufficient.
I mean, what was special? What happened in September?
September 2018, we reached self-sufficient and we start exporting. Now, Zohr is producing 2.7 billion, which is almost 30% of Egypt production. Zohr will reach by the end of the year 3.2 billion cubic feet, and will have a plateau of 15 to 18 years of production. You have in the Mediterranean as well, Atoll and West Nile Delta, Giza Fayoum, Taurus Libra in the beginning, Giza Fayoum, and Raven will come that West Nile Delta will reach 1.4 billion by the end of the year. Baltim Southwest adding next year before the end of the fiscal year 500.
So together that is...
Norris, which is again...
Norris is in the Red Sea?
No, it's a Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
It's also close to the shore, so we managed to tie into the existing facility 7 billion cubic feet per day. That's a
lot of number if you want to interpret it money-wise.
Never happened. Our record in 2009 was 6 billion, now 7, and by the end of the fiscal year 1920, June next year, we reach 8 billion. It is
an increase. It is an increase in a short time. Now, you also did mention that the Baltim South West offshore gas field is going to be reaching a 500 cubic meter of gas per day by 2020, in June 2020. So you also mentioned that investors have no heart. So if they're not sure of their investments' profitability, they wouldn't do that. So reaching this amount by 2020 is definitely going to create new industrial zones and also encourage more investors to come in. How do you see that working along with the plan of reaching the target of this 500 cubic feet meter?
Having new profit sharing agreement for the E&P industry, the exploration production industry, to encourage, it's a dynamic. Having a dynamic mechanism to encourage the company to come definitely helped the investors to come. And as I said earlier, having 4 major are active in the Mediterranean. Also,
and they're multinational.
And multinational. Companies. Also, we have, I'd like to compare, and I'd like to use numbers. So the fast tracking of the gas development project in Egypt, it's a world record. Let's make Zohr 28 months, Atoll 33 months from the discovery to the first gas. Zohr,
which, mind you, is a very short period of time. You're talking about, you are at least cutting down 3 years.
More.
5 years, I believe.
Let's compare other projects. Aphrodite in Cyprus, discovered in 2011. First gas will be 2024, 2025.
Wow.
Tamara.
We don't want to give our lovely gas exploration bad eyes, right? They're doing a great job.
Tamara, it was discovered in 2009. That's in Israel. 4 years after, and they didn't have any gas. So they were fast tracking as well. 4 years after they start. Leviathan, 2011, they will start 2020, to end of the year, beginning of next year. We talk about 8 to 9 years. So definitely what happened in the fast tracking Mediterranean gas project, it's a world record as per the highest standard of safety and environment, and we all should be proud of it. When I saw new reports, Egypt celebrating 47 years of October 6 victory, we should all be proud of what we have achieved, and yes, we can do things when we have the determination, the focus, and the will.
So putting back again, interpreting what I was basically planning to ask you next about how or what makes these investors very confident in investing in Egypt in such a field. Now that you've mentioned with numbers, neighboring countries and in the region, how far they're progressing, definitely this is possibly the reason why they choose Egypt over other areas which are not less rich in gas as a resource than Egypt.
We have experienced ourselves from 2011 when we had the revolution in Egypt, 2 revolutions in 2-3 years. The gas production declined because nobody invested in Egypt. We didn't pay the outstanding money we owe to all this international company. We have reached in 2013 up to $6.3 billion. So now you have the stability. In the neighboring country, as you said, they have the gas, but they have also geopolitical problem. All this maritime agreement we have done with Cyprus, with Greece, with Saudi Arabia, and for the Red Sea allowed, so we don't have any problem to explore in Mediterranean.
No, we don't have any problem, but some enemies have a serious problem, right? Because they're lagging behind, and
of course.
And you know they don't want to see Egypt reach to this stage.
Exactly.
Eventually, why should it be?
Stability is very important. It gives a trust to the investors to come. New investment law. It's all the focus and the follow-up of the leadership of the country. I tell you, and this is not, it's a secret.
It is or it's not?
It's not.
I don't understand now. Is it or is it not?
If it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for the president, Sisi, regular follow-up on a project like Zohr or with PP, with Atoll, we wouldn't have had this fast tracking in 28 months for Zohr.
Actually, to be very honest, Doctor, if it wasn't for President Sisi following up on any project in Egypt, we wouldn't be moving forward. We are lazy by nature unless we do have a leadership that's very concerned with time, because, you know, sometimes you don't take time as a very important factor,
exactly,
right?
I think time is not in our favor, and we have to work very hard.
We should be proud of the stages we've reached so far, but we still have much more to do. Now, allow us to go to the second report before we continue. And since we were talking about one of the 5 top international companies that are actually investing in the exploration program and projects in Egypt, gas discoveries, Eni to inject new investments in Egypt. Let's find out what they are.
Egypt's Baltim southwest offshore gas field, discovered by Italian oil giant Eni in 2016, started production with an estimated initial output of 100 million cubic feet of gas a day. Production is expected to rise to 500 million cubic feet of gas by the second quarter of 2020, when an additional 5 wells go on stream. The field, located 12 kilometers off Egypt's Mediterranean coast, has a potential capacity of 1 trillion cubic feet of gas, while the potential of the area where it is located, the Great Nouros area, is nearly 3 TCF. Worth mentioning that Eni, through its subsidiary, holds a 50% stake in the Baltim South lease, and BP holds the remaining 50%. The project is operated by Petrobel, a joint venture between Eni and the state-owned Egyptian General Petroleum Corporation. It's worth noting that in 2015, Eni discovered Egypt's giant offshore Zohr gas field, the largest in the Mediterranean, whose output now stands at 2.7 billion cubic feet of gas daily. Bigger output helped Egypt become self-sufficient in natural gas in late 2018.
Welcome back again. You're here on the Daily Debate, and I am joined with Dr. Hussien Al-Ghazzawy, oil and gas expert. Dr. Hussien, let's talk about the several oil agreements that have been signed for the exploration of oil and gas in several fields and areas as well, whether they're including the Western Desert, the Mediterranean, the Nile Delta as well, the Gulf of the Suez. So we are not just in the Mediterranean area, but we have a vast number of area that is very rich with gas and parallel projects being implemented at the same time.
The government is focusing definitely on gas, and we did an outstanding result, reaching self-sufficient and exporting again. But oil, we're still not yet self-sufficient in the oil, and a lot of focus on the oil in exploration in the Western Desert, and also the old field in the Gulf of Suez. The result of the last 2 bid rounds, Mediterranean and Western, very important. Egypt in the last 5 years, the number of agreement and the investment signed with all this company, I think it's unprecedented. It's
and successful. So just people understand, they're not just agreements on paper; they are actually implemented, and you can see the fruit of it.
$10 billion invested in the last fiscal year, and the government has the same objectives to have the same in this fiscal year, which will end in June 20. More IOC, international oil company, are coming to Egypt. Again, Stability is very important. I think Egypt managed to restore the trust of the investor in our economy, paying the money we owe to the international oil company from $6.3 billion in 2013. We are below $1 billion now, and we government have objective to finish it by year end or Q1 next year. So
which is a big step.
It is a big step.
People should understand that this is where the money, the very limited money is going.
Exactly.
Yes, it's not. It doesn't just always have to go in your tummy, right? As an individual citizen, it has to
Correct.
go for the development of your country if you want to reach the 2030 agenda.
Correct.
And be a bit patient. Now, we were also talking earlier about the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, and that includes Cyprus, Egypt, Greece, and a number of countries. If we want to talk about how you read and assess the steps that the government is taking to ensure that this region is cooperating together in this field.
So the vision of the leadership to have Egypt as an energy hub, there are several pillars, and the East Mediterranean Gas Forum is one of them, several pillars for Egypt to be an energy hub. The East Mediterranean Gas Forum was discussed between His Excellency the President of Cyprus, Prime Minister of Greece in October 2018. They formed, it was formed January 2019 with the first meeting and headquarter in Egypt. I think it's a good news for the East Mediterranean countries. It is 7 countries so far, and it's open to new member to join. It's to coordinate and collaborate between all these countries to monetize the gas reserve and all this discovery using the existing infrastructure. I think Egypt, we are in a perfect position when it comes to the infrastructure. We have the 2 liquefied natural gas plant, one in Domyat, one in Edko, with both of them capacity of 1.8 billion cubic feet per day. They were idle where we were importing gas. So now, for Cyprus, we have signed last year a memorandum of understanding for Aphrodite field through pipe to Egypt, not to use it for our local use, but to send it to our liquefied natural gas plant in Domyat and Edko, and re-exporting. So Egypt will gain from basically using this idle facility.
Yes. Actually, while you were just talking, it's important to focus and stress on the fact that Egypt has even a further mission and goal, which is being not just self-efficient, but being an energy hub or a power hub in the region. And we're talking in the region, we're talking about Africa as a continent, we're talking about the Middle East, and we're talking about the Mediterranean. So we're talking about half of the world, basically. And what does it mean to be an energy hub for Egypt? And for the rest of the world, it's going to be benefiting.
It's very important. It's not only more jobs, it's not only more money, it's stability in the country, socio-economical impact for the ordinary people. Using our liquefied natural gas plant, which, as I said, they were idle for 3.5–4 years because of we were importing gas. People, and it was actually, if you allow me, was misunderstanding when we said we will get gas from Israel. We are not importing this gas for our own use. We are taking gas from them to use our facility and exporting and make money. It's a trading. People has to, we are self-sufficient. We are exporting gas. We are exporting gas to Jordan now. We about 250 million cubic feet per day. So
is that good news for the Jordanian community?
Of course, for the national electricity company, it's a fantastic news because they were at deficit.
Of course, yes.
For quite some time when we had the interruption of the gas supply. So Leviathan will start in early next year, and we will take in the beginning 350 million cubic feet from them, receiving from them, export to South Europe.
So it's a forward and a backward sort of a thing. It's not just one-sided.
Of course.
It's a process. When we talk about energy hub, does that include the non-renewable energy, the solar energy, the wind energy, going clean in environment, also very less cost?
Now it's a gas hub. Oil can be definitely oil hub, and can be electricity. Electricity is not only coming from power station, coming from renewable. Egypt have a fantastic surplus with the power generation. We have reached 56 gigawatt power generation capacity, and our peak is 30 gigawatts. So we have excess.
Yes.
Electricity now.
When you have no excess, what?
Exactly.
That's very strange.
We have excess.
We don't. It's not strange to have electricity now. It's strange to have a power cut.
We have
yes,
excess.
That's something we should be also thankful for.
We are working with Sudan to export, Saudi, Jordan. So we are exporting our electricity as well. So the hub is an energy hub, starting with the gas. The new gas law, which was issued in 2017, Law 196, allows the private sector now to procure and sell gas independent of the government. The government or the country will be regulating, will basically hand off of the process. That's how Egypt will gain the momentum to be an energy hub, when you have a private sector importing gas from wherever, use the LNG facility, re-exporting them. If with more industry, more petrochemicals project, more
yes,
heavy,
a lot of things would revive around that
exactly.
as well. Yes,
you have the Suez Canal economic zone, and you are quite right. We are the gate to Africa, and there is a lot of focus on Africa now. We should talk more about not only the hub. You should use the geodemographic,
yes, positioning of
and
the
we
land.
should start thinking of manufacturing equipment. Whether we can start with oil and gas equipment in Suez, in the economical zone of Suez Canal. Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, they manufacture a lot of things. We should do. We have the manpower, we have talented people,
and we have the resources.
And we have the resources. So it's all good news for the country, and it will make a stability for this part of the world. When you trade with somebody, you don't want to fight.
Egypt doesn't want to fight with anyone.
Exactly.
If Egypt has enemies, that's their problem, right? Now, you said at the beginning you like to talk with numbers or speak with numbers, and of course that's important because people would relate more and understand in numbers. So from your sort of expectation, with the continuation of the acceleration of Egypt in this field in particular, whether it's energy or gas or oil, what do you think will be the size of the foreign investments in the future by year 2030?
As I said, it's a 10 billions per year, and we anticipate more. So if I take a very conservative estimate, we talk about $100 billion multiplied 10 by 10 years to reach 2030.
Where's the number? I want a number. What does that mean? What does that mean? An infinity number. A lot of numbers. So it's like what? How many times more than our current status, for instance? Let's simplify it this way. How much more in terms of times what would that be reached? So
as I said, we are now 10 billion per year. I assume the same figure, but definitely it will
multiply by 100. Then it's my problem. Pardon me, I'm very bad with mathematics.
It's about $100 billion just without any increase. I'm sure it will reach more than that. If I include the Red Sea, if I include the new project, there is one company is talking about buying one of the Gulf of Suez asset, and they have announced that they will invest $13 billion for the coming 10 years. So I would say in the coming 10 years, we are talking conservatively $120 billion investment can be.
And my final question, we just have 3 minutes before we can end this episode. From this gate, how do you see the future? Where is it going in Egypt as a whole cumulative thing, as in a full picture of the economic cycle of the status that it would reach by 2030 if it does follow these quick steps?
You have a gross GDP of 6% in 2019. It's one of the highest in the world. Last year was 5.5. I strongly believe it's a bright future. If I can use the opportunity, I think what we should do, just focus and work hard. I think there is a lot of energy we are wasting on following nonsense in the social media, and people should just focus
on their job.
On their job.
That's brilliant. That's like the most brilliant thing I've heard today. That's the thing. People should focus on what they need to do and do their part of action to move forward with their lives, basically.
And don't listen to nonsense. Don't watch the fake and pictures. And
so true. I was just thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, wow, the world is busy trying to find lives on other planets, trying to colonize species, and we're here in Egypt really, really wasting our energy and time on nonsense,
we have
unfortunately.
A fantastic
not we in
country.
General,
we have a lot
some
of
people.
We have a lot of good resources. We have a good people. We have a leadership I admire and respect. Let's focus on what on our work. Focus people, kids in school, study hard.
And the thing is that, and I know it's a bit off context, but again, it's all interrelated. It's not just about, when we discuss projects, it's not just about to inspire people with, look what we're doing or what we're capable of doing and the exploration and the discoveries that we find, but look what that means for Egypt. And maybe some people, and maybe that's a culture, as I said, lack of knowledge and culture makes a person not really see beyond the boundaries of his comfort zone. So it doesn't have to directly mean you're going to have tomorrow a greater income. This money and income is not going to be divided on 100 million people, right? But this money is going to go and be reinvested in other institutions and other ministries. You will be benefiting from it, but not in a direct income status. And it's not all about, unfortunately, thinking about how much food you're going to intake per month. There's more about life than that. There's education, there's a decent life, there's security, there's stability, there's a future for your children, there's better infrastructure, there's better health system, there's better education system. See, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Allowed their population, 100 million, to have a medical checkup. Never happened.
And again, we are talking about a country that is really lagging.
Yes,
of course, the health initiative, that was a very successful one. And the thing is...
Virus C...
yes, and the thing is, time is a very important element. And I believe that we should really take a moment to count our blessings and thank God for what we have reached so far in a very short time. And that hopefully together we'll, with a little bit of more patience, we're almost going to be there, I believe, right? Towards the end of this tunnel, there is great light. And
a lot of light, that's for sure.
Well, unfortunately, our time is up. I'd like to thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was a great
discussion.
Me too. Thank you very much for coming in, Dr. Hussien Ghazzawy, oil and gas expert. It was great to talk to you today.
Likewise.
You definitely had a lot of ideas, Jenny, because usually this topic is a very complicated, specialized topic. You made it sound like it was very ordinary. It is simple. It is simple, apart from the math, which probably is my take there. Thank you very much for joining me on the Daily Debate. That brings us to the end of our episode of the Daily Debate. I'm Yasmin Bakir signing off. Thank you for watching.